Griff, thank you very much. The Senate Armed Service Committee, among those vowing to investigate what went wrong, Republican Senator and Marine Corps Reserve Colonel Dan Sullivan sits on that committee, and he joins me now. Senator, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Charles. Good to be back on the show. Thanks.
Yeah, it really is difficult to even know where to start. It has been such an unmitigated disaster, flawed planning, flawed execution. Where are you going to begin? What do you think your committee will want to begin with this?
Well, look, I think the biggest thing is we're seeing these incredible, heart-wrenching, frustrating scenes in Afghanistan, and then the president speaks to the American people, and he's disconnected from reality. You know, he says the buck stops here with him, and yet he blames everybody but himself. He says the buck stops here, and he won't make the most important decision he needs to make now, which is to authorize his military to go, our military, to go rescue Americans held behind Taliban lines. And finally, Charles, he says the buck stops with him, and yet he won't level with the American people, that his actions clearly have made Afghanistan once again the epicenter for global terrorism in the world. He needs to level with the people of the United States.
Yeah, Senator, it really is amazing. We had two press conferences where no questions were taken, and then the one yesterday, and it does feel like the spin doctors are in charge of putting these together. This is when we ultimately need a heart-to-heart. You know what? Mistakes are made. Even presidents make mistakes. We can deal with that, but don't spin. Don't make it so that you're contradicting the folks that work with you minute to minute. So that's where we are, and I think that's what's adding fuel to our desperation, our frustration here in this country. What would you like to see from the president right now? I'm sure we'll hear from him again real soon. We're waiting a briefing at the Pentagon that will certainly contradict words he came out of his mouth just less than 24 hours ago. What should the president do now?
Well, look, the president has one top priority. He's got one responsibility, period, right now, and that is to make sure we bring every American citizen who is in Afghanistan home safely. And what this is going to clearly require, Charles, is for the president to authorize our military to go get these citizens. They can make military plans. Our military, yeah, would this be risky? Of course it would. Right. But our military is trained to do these kind of missions. And here's the other thing you need to do. You see in all these press briefings, this arbitrary August 31st deadline is still being floated out there as a possible date in which we would leave again. They need to get rid of this deadline. There should be no deadline for saving American citizens.
Right. And everything seems predicated on getting it done before September 11th. I guess that's another big event where you can say, hey, we're out, we did it. I've got just a short period of time with you. We're watching scenes of the Taliban driving American-made Humvees, using American-made machine guns. They've already tightened the circle around the airport. They're beating people up. And we've got more soldiers there, 150% more than that were there just 2 weeks ago. Should the American public be warned that there's going to be more fighting before this is totally solved? I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to waltz in. You just made the point. It's going to be dangerous. Should we now be warned about the new reality because this debacle was so bad, we're actually going to lose more American soldiers?
Look, when you level with the American people, if the president does that, they understand the risks. But I guarantee you, every American out there, regardless of where you are politically, knows that we need to go get our own citizens. That's what the United States military is for. And the final thing I would want the president to do, Charles, which he hasn't done yet, is to look in the camera, particularly with regard to Afghanistan veterans, their families, Gold Star families, and say, look, this was not in vain. What your husband or spouse did, what your wife did, if you're an Afghan vet who's been injured, the sacrifices you made, Senator, you kept our country safe for 20 years. This wasn't in vain.
I got a hard break coming up, so I didn't mean to rush you, but I agree 1,000,000%. We love our vets. No one should feel bad about their service and their patriotism. Thank you very much.